Today I'm going to discuss doing group rides, putting the route together, how to plan that route. Some things that you need to think about when planning out the route. You need to think about your starting and ending, and also where you're going to wind up stopping. So you need to think about where you're going to start, where you're going to end it, where you're going to stop in between, if you do stop. You also need to think about intersections. These guys right here. What are the best intersections? What are the worst? I tell you, this right here is a terrible intersection because you got two lanes here. You got two lanes here, and you definitely don't want to be going over 4 lanes like that, and you find yourself in trouble. So you need to think about your start, your stop, the places you're going to stop at, your intersections. You need to think about the best scenery, and of course, along with best scenery comes along with road conditions. You need to think about the participants. Who's going to be riding along with you? Novice to avid. Another thing that you need to think about are other events in the areas that you may go through. So let's start off with start, stop, and all your little stop points that you're going to make. While doing your ride, you want to start in a location that's going to be acceptable to a larger crowd. You don't want to start in some small gas station parking lot that may or may not be able to hold as many bikes as you may not anticipate. You may only anticipate 12 and you wind up getting 100. Something else is you need to think about where you're going to be stopping along the way. I've always found it's a lot easier to stop on places that are on the right hand side of the road and then leave out of them on the right hand side. Making a bunch of left turns on a route is very difficult. You have to have somebody to block that traffic for you. So keep it always turning right if you can. Try to keep it to back roads, low traveled roads as much as possible. And every time you stop, make sure that you're checking on your participants, making sure that, you know, their bike's okay. You're going to have different type of riders with you. Making sure that you've got everybody with you that started. One good thing that you could always do if you've got a probate, or if it's a club, a probate, or a prospect, or somebody that, you know, their bike's down, or maybe they're just not feeling well and they don't want to ride that day. That happens. If you've got a person like that, then have that person ride ahead as a pre-support vehicle. Of course, you need your support vehicles to be behind you, but who says that you can't have one that's a pre-support vehicle? Somebody that's going to, and by the way, that is a bad turn. Never make a turn like that on a route. But if you're going to have somebody in front of you, have them get to the stopping points 30 minutes ahead of you. That way you can let the people that are at that stopping point know, hey, this is how many people are going to be coming in about 30 more minutes. But long before you even do your ride, you should definitely let these businesses know that you're going to have a ride and you would like for their business to be a stopping point, whether it be a country store, a gas station, a convenient station, a convenience store, maybe a bike shop. Let them know that you're going to be coming, and this is about the time that you're going to be there. And if you can have somebody that is ahead of the ride, like somebody doing 30 minutes ahead, and they could be there 30 minutes before y'all get there, that way they can prepare for you. If they're a convenience store that likes to cook breakfast, maybe they can make sure that they've got enough sausage biscuits and chicken biscuits made up for you. Also, that person doing the pre-ride could also phone in and let you know if any of the road conditions are really bad. Which brings me to my next thing is you need to look out for your road conditions. You should and must go out and ride this ride. Your road captain or whoever it is that does the rides and does the routes and maps it out, get that person and all those that are going to be blocking traffic, your tail gunners, whoever you may have in your riding club or riding group or your organization. Make sure they're riding along with you. That way they can see what the route is, and you can bounce ideas off of each other when doing this. You can see what the road conditions are during that time. Now, road conditions can change. Say you do your pre-ride to check everything out a week or two ahead of your ride date. And the day of your ride, you find out that they just scraped the road the day before. And now you have nothing but an asphalt road that's been scraped and has all this loose gravel. That's not good riding conditions. You need to find another route, and you need to do it fast. Also, I've been on a ride, man, I tell you, this guy had just mowed all of this high grass, and every last bit of it was right in the middle of the road. We had to ride right through that stuff. I've been on rides where, you know, they wanted to have a great scenery out there and put us on this nice, beautiful country road, but that country road had grass growing up straight in the middle of it, had potholes that, you know, even some of the most avid motorcyclists were having a hard time keeping their bike in a straight line because they were constantly weaving in and out trying to avoid potholes. That's definitely something you need to think about, road conditions. And along with road conditions, you need to think about the weather. Now, that's something that you can't change, and you definitely don't want to be changing your ride date because of weather, but by George, if it's going to be a monsoon or a hurricane, you don't need to have that ride. Maybe you need to postpone it. If it snows, you don't need to have the ride. But if it is a bitter cold outside, like 40 degrees, and you know some folks just aren't going to ride in that, then maybe suggest having a meetup and you know, donating to the fund or to the cause, and those that want to ride can ride along. Because, you know, you got some hardcore riders out there that love to ride in these conditions. Right now, it's 40, I think it's like 43 degrees, and I'm out here with just leathers on. It's not that bad after you warm up. So, road conditions and weather is definitely it. You need to think about that. Something else to think about is the scenery that you're going to offer your participants. Nobody wants to go through city after city, having to stop after stop at intersection after intersection. People want to see cool old buildings, maybe nice open fields. If you're in the mountains, give them some mountain views to see. If you're out in the plains, you know, some great silos, maybe a lake or two, maybe go over a river or something. You know, give them something to say, man, that was a beautiful ride. You know, give them something to really think about while they're riding. Something else you need to think about are your participants. Who's riding with you? How many are you going to have? How many do you anticipate having? You're only anticipating how many there will be. You're not going to know for sure until kickstands are up. So are you anticipating 50 or are you anticipating 200? And when you are anticipating a very large group, then your route needs to be something with very few intersections. And then I've been on rides where I've gone straight down the interstate on a ride. That's a terrible road ever to do a ride on. But yes, it was a charity ride. And we're going 80 miles and 90 miles an hour. And you had some beginners on that ride that just could not keep up. They're too scared to go that fast. Now you have to remember, you cannot try to outrun the most timid biker. Make it fun for them. Make it something that they'll want to come back and do more rides with your group later on. Don't make it to where they're talking about, hey man, that ride, I can't ride with them anymore. I just felt scared riding with them. So remember that when you're making your routes and everything, how many people you plan to have, what skill levels you'll have riding with you. Something else to think about are your intersections. Like this one here, I'm going to take a right-hand turn here, but if I were going to take a left-hand turn, as you can see, and that's red, I'm going to go ahead and stop. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes. If I were going to take a left-hand turn here, I would need probably about 4 guys stopping traffic coming from the right, and maybe 3 stopping traffic coming from the left. How many people do you have that you can let go of at each intersection so they can fall all the way back to the back? There's something to think about. How many intersections are you allowed in between stops? If you only have 10 tail gunners, the people that will wind up stopping traffic for you, and you have intersections like that, you're only going to be able to do 2 of those intersections, provided that you didn't need anybody to help you get out of the place that you stopped at. See, you're going to need somebody to help you get out of there, probably 2 people to get out of there, and then you're going to need probably about 2 people to help you get into your next stop. So that's 4 people right there that you need to think about. So you really only have room for 1 intersection like that. That's definitely something that you need to think about when planning a route. How many people can you let go of in the ride to stop at intersections? After they have blocked traffic at these intersections, you don't want that tail gunner to come all the way from the back, all the way back up to the front on just a 2-lane road. If you've got 4 lanes that you can do that, that's fine. But if you're only on like a little 2-lane road where you've got hills, you've got turns, and you don't know what's coming around the bend, I have been on rides where these guys just zoom on past me. Tail gunners zooming on by. Very dangerous. Some of the people who were on that ride were sitting there talking, hey man, that was so dangerous. I don't know if I want to ride anymore. Then we get to a stop. Hey, I think I'm just going to drop out. I can't ride with these guys. They're too dangerous. You don't want that kind of an image. So whenever you get to a stop, that would be the time to put all those tail gunners back up to the front. When you get to a stop, have one of your support vehicles that's usually in the back. have them pull out into the traffic to stop traffic as you're leaving that stop. That would put them back in the back. So now you're not using any tail gunners to leave out of a stop. You're using your support vehicle, and preferably one with a trailer, because you know you always got that one guy that's got that project bike that he's been working on for 3 years, and every time he gets a paycheck he sinks it into that bike and it just doesn't seem to work. So you know, you got that truck with the trailer, have that pull out into the traffic to stop traffic, and then all the bikes can be together and you're not using a biker to stop traffic for that moment of time. You have now saved one of your tail gunners to stop at intersections. Furthermore, if you go to just four-way stops and two-lane roads, you don't need but 2 tail gunners at those kind of intersections. And if you only make right-hand turns, you don't need but 1 tail gunner to stop traffic at a right-hand turn. And I say that if there's oncoming traffic. Now, if you're making a right-hand turn, like say I'm on this road right here, and I decide I want to get off of this road that I'm on onto another road, you don't need a single tail gunner for that. But if there's oncoming traffic, you do. So intersections and who you have as tail gunners, how many tail gunners you have, that's really going to dictate, it will really dictate your route. Because when you run out of tail gunners, you run out of safety. But you also need to think about other events that may be going on. Call up your law enforcement, your county law enforcement, which would be your sheriff's department, your city police, your state police, and let them know you're going to be coming through that area. Let them know what time you are expected to come through that area. You also want to make sure that it's okay to come through the area. And the reason why I say that is you don't want to be coming through an area that's got a parade going on. Or I've been on a ride and this has happened, and the people that put the ride on did not call that particular small community to check to see what was going on, but they had a car show and tractor show going on. And they had these old tractors, beautiful tractors by the way, had beautiful tractors coming in and out of the road, weaving in and out, and it put the bike ride on a standstill for a moment. And we were all, it was a hot summer day too at that. What's going on in that community at the time that your ride's going to go on? Is there going to be anything that's going to conflict with your particular route that you're taking? Something else you need to think about is the season and the location you're in. I was speaking of tractors and harvesters. I was on a ride one time, and this peanut harvester, peanut picker, was right in front of us. It was right in the middle of harvest season. That was definitely something that the road captain of that particular club should have thought about well ahead of time. When you ride that ride, look out into the scenery. Look at that. That is a field that doesn't look like it needs to be harvested. But if you go out there and you see a field that looks like, hey, any day now they're going to be harvesting that field, you might want to think about, is this going to be something that's going to cause trouble for this ride? And definitely other events, especially if there's an event that may supersede your event. It may trump your event. You don't want to be having a bunch of events at the same time and you wind up with a very low participation rate. And if I were at a stop sign like this, which is four-way, I'd just put, if I'm going to stay straight, I put one guy on the right, one guy on the left. But if I'm going to take a right-hand turn, I need three guys, one on the left, one up front, and one over here to the right. I'm going to take a right-hand turn. It's important that you know how many participants you're going to need, or how many tail gunners you're going to need for a situation like that. It's only a two-lane road. These are the kind of roads that are best for rides, especially if you got a ride with 50 or more people. You want a road that's going to be long with very few turns. I mean, it could have twisties in it. I'm not saying don't have curves, but I am telling you, you do not want to be turning left and turning right, turning left and turning right. You want to let your participants know what the route is, and at every stop reiterate what that route will be. Especially if your guy that's going 30 minutes ahead of you or 40 minutes ahead of you and is looking at the road conditions ahead of time calls in to you and says, hey, Highway 26 is terrible. They just scraped the road. They got road construction going on. We need to detour around that particular route. Y'all look at it and see what y'all want to do. Call me back, and you need to let your participants know where you're going to be going, what road you're going to go down. Most of your participants may not know where you're riding. Some of them may. So, as a matter of fact, you may have a participant that's a truck driver that knows all the roads. That's what I love, is when I have a road captain that's been a truck driver for many years. They know every back road, every dirt road, every little road that he could ever go around, because they are constantly having to go around detours, or they know where the road conditions are the worst, the road conditions are the best, because they're constantly on those roads. Dig in the ear of a truck driver, and I can guarantee you, he can tell you where the best scenery is, where the worst road conditions are, and probably the best route to take. So those are my 6 things to think about. Stop, start, and all your start, stop, and where you're going to stop at. Your intersections, road conditions, best scenery, other events that may be going on, and most definitely your participants that are going to be riding along with you. And like I said, let your law enforcement know, let your city municipals know what you're doing, because they may want to help support this. They may donate. And after you're done with it, every place that you have stopped and every law enforcement that helped you stop traffic, because when you call your law enforcement, a lot of times they'll help you stop traffic. If they helped you in any way possible, when this is all done with, write them a thank you note with the letterhead of your organization. When you do that, they'll see class. They'll see something that they probably have never seen before. Now, that intersection that I was just at, I took a left-hand turn. You would need at least 2 to 3 to stop traffic at something like that, especially if there was also a road. If it was a two-way stop, that was just the end of a road. But if it had another road coming, you would need 3 people to stop that traffic. But anyways, stay safe out there. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and keep on riding. Peace.